First thing to know about gestures is that you must have a base position. What is a base position? Where do your hands go when you're not saying anything? Typically, I would recommend keeping them here. You can also do this. You can also find other ways to hold your hands. However, keep it at your waist. Notice it makes you look ready. I'm about to speak. So as I talk, you notice my hands will move and they'll come right back here. They'll move again, they'll come right back here. It's a great place to start because for some people, they'll talk and then they don't know what to do there with their hands and they'll get stuck here and then they'll look like T-Rex arms just frozen in time. You don't want to do that. So bring it back here. Now you can also leave your hands to the side if you want. I find when most people try this, they look quite awkward when they do it unless they're really confident. So they'll just be standing and they'll look almost frozen. They'll do a gesture and they'll come back. They'll do a gesture and come back and it looks a little odd. But if you're constantly in motion, let's say I'm talking about something and then I talk about this other thing over here and then I go into point number one, point number two, and then let's talk about this thing over here. Now notice I don't need a base position because my hands are constantly in motion. However, they're still in control. They're moving with a purpose. Now, when they're not moving, I can bring them back here. Personally, I don't bring my hands back here. Typically, I'm usually in a gesture, then I go into the next gesture, then the next gesture. This is completely up to you. For most people starting off, I would recommend having some sort of base position because this removes a lot of your nervous tics. If you don't know what you're doing with your hands, meaning if they're just flailing to your sides, this might turn into this might turn into this, all of that. So instead, it's easy to just give yourself something to do so you look ready when you're starting. Next thing to know, there are three types of gestures. I call them A, B, and C gestures. So your A gestures are within your body, within your torso. So for example, if I'm here, hey, my name is Yasser. Today, you and I will talk about XYZ. Really excited you're here. Notice how my gestures are within my body. This is great for a corporate setting. They're not overly done, they're not dramatic, they're just enough to make it visually appealing, but they're not theatrical. So if you are in a boardroom, you're in a personal environment with other people, this could be a great area to explore. Just make sure you're not so contrived that you're, hey, I'm really excited to be here. Now it looks nervous. So have your elbows flared out and you can make your gestures within your body. Then you have B gestures. B gestures are shoulder width level. Really excited to have you here. We have two things we're going to discuss. Number one, number two. Notice how I'm taking up just a little bit more space. My arms are wide open. When you do this, it shows that you are carefree, that you are comfortable to take on more space, and you are confident because you don't feel like you have to close yourself off. So this tends to be a good position for presentations. If you're delivering a presentation in a corporate setting, you've got 10, 20 people, this will be a great place to make your gestures. And again, you can come back here, make the gesture, come right back here. Now, remember this, the bigger the setting, the bigger the gesture. The bigger the setting, the bigger the gesture. So if I'm in a large auditorium and there's hundreds, if not thousands of people, now my gestures are going to be much bigger so people can see them. A great example, a mentor once told me, if you are explaining to someone how to cut a cucumber, let's say you're in a meeting, I'll say, you take a cucumber and you cut it into small pieces. But now imagine I'm on stage and there's 1,000 people all the way up into the back. If I do this, they can't see it. So I'll say something like, you take a cucumber and you cut it into pieces. Notice how much larger the cucumber got. I'm sure that's a world record. But that's what you do with your gestures. When you're in a big setting, you make C gestures. So anything past the shoulders, this is C gestures. Most people do not take advantage of this, especially in presentations. There's going to be a large audience and they will stay here. Hey, really excited to be here. As you can see, we're doing this. There's nothing inherently wrong with it, but if you have all of this space, you can utilize it. So for example, the first thing that you and I will talk about is this. Now we talked about how to do this. Now let's talk about how to do that. Can you see how much wider my gestures are? This is if I'm on stage. Now, if you are in a meeting, you can take the same gesture. This is how we started, and this is how we ended. Same exact gesture, but I have just changed the size of the gesture depending on the room. So A gestures are within your body, B gestures are at the shoulders, C gestures are beyond the shoulders. Now, when you're trying to speak like a CEO, remember, it's more important what you don't do than what you do. Because it's not that important to use gestures just for the sake of using gestures. Sure, if it aids your discussion, if it makes it easier for people to understand what you're saying, use them. But if you look at some of the most prominent CEOs and the way they speak, they don't overdo the gestures. In fact, maybe they will count on their hands, maybe they'll wave their hand around like this, and that's about it. So I don't want you to put in so much effort. I need to use gestures. I need to describe everything that I'm talking about. You absolutely don't need to, as long as your movements are controlled and purposeful. So when you're moving, notice with my body, I ground myself with my movement. My hands are moving in accordance to my words. That way, it doesn't look redundant. But if I spoke like this and I said, hey, today you and I will talk about public speaking. In fact, you will learn 3 things, and if you do these 3 things, you're going to become much better at public speaking. Notice how much I toned down the gestures, but did it take away from the message? Did you perceive me as less credible? Not a whole lot. So that's why I don't put so much stock into I have to use gestures. Now, what are some of the types of gestures you can use? The most obvious is to describe what you are talking about. And for this, I need you to play around with what your mind does, because I might describe something a certain way, you might describe it a very different way. So for example, if you ask someone who's 60 years old and you ask someone who's 19, how do you roll down the window? The person who's 60-year-old is going to do this. If you ask someone who's in their teens, they're going to do this. Because it's different depending on their experience of life. So similarly, I don't want to feed you the gestures. You try it out. When you're speaking about something, how would you want to describe it? What gesture comes naturally to you? Some standard gestures you can use are counting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now notice I started with my thumb. You might start like this. You might start like this. Who knows? So one way you can try is using your hands and your fingers to count on them. Point number 1, point number 2, point number 3. Some people like doing it like this. 1, 2, 3. Nothing wrong with that. I bought a new kitten. She's this small. My son is really tall now. It was this square container. It's a process you follow step by step or step by step. So you are describing what you were talking about. Play around with this. Now, something I like to do, I like to use gestures to signal to the audience what to do. So sometimes I will say something in my presentation and I'll say, it's not what you say, it's what they remember. It's not what you say, it's, and then the audience will say what they remember. So because I've signaled to them, hey, I'm going to listen to you, then they start saying it. Other times I'll say, have you ever felt this way? I won't say raise your hand sometimes, but I will raise my hand. And because people see first, they'll see me raising my hand, they will automatically raise their hand. If you felt nervous before a presentation, automatically people will raise their hand. So this is signaling the audience to participate with you in the presentation. If you want to be trustworthy in presentations, what I would recommend you do, try to keep your palms open as much as you can. You will notice most of the gestures that I make, my palms are open. There is something in our reptilian brain that tells us when we see open palms, it's a sense of safety. So if I was like this the whole time, hey, today you're going to learn about public speaking and you're going to learn these amazing techniques, you're a little confused with what's going on. And even if I hide my hand like this, something in your brain is probably wondering, what is he holding behind him? What's going on there? It creates uncertainty. It kicks off the fear response in your brain, and you don't want that to happen. Now, there is a difference. Sometimes you have an army sergeant that also stands like this with high authority, but you already know you can trust them because of their role. If you are someone walking down the street and you see a shady character just standing like this, you're going to wonder what's in their hand, right? So that's why make your hands visible as you talk. Make the gesture, come right back here. Make the gesture, come right back here. I also like using connection gestures, you and I. We can come together. This means a lot to me. Notice I'm touching the heart. I could feel it in my head happening. I'm describing my thought process. I was terrified when this happened. I'm using my hands and my face to show it. Now again, you want to be careful what situation you're in. How dramatic can you be? If it's a corporate situation, don't go over the top. Be controlled and relaxed. If you look at motivational speakers or people who are trying to rile you up, they're going to have fast, big, intense movements. I want you to do X, Y, Z. We have to do this right now. If we don't do this right now, they're going to do X, Y, Z. You don't need to do all of this. Unless you are trying to be a motivational speaker and lead a movement, you're not going to need gestures this big. I'm sure just in me doing it, you can see they're not really appropriate for a corporate setting. You will never need them. So that's why in a corporate setting, all you need to know, the 80-20%, slow and controlled movement. Control meaning you're doing everything purposefully. If you are going to use your gestures, use it when it aids your discussion, when you are describing something. And it's infinitely more important to know what gestures not to do, or the nervous behaviors you might have. The finger rubbing it together, playing around with the fingers, scratching yourself all the time, fidgety fast movements, hiding your hands, hiding your body. These are examples. Uncontrolled behavior or suppressive behavior. You want to avoid that. As long as you don't have uncontrolled behaviors and suppressive behaviors, and you will to some degree, we can't control every single movement. As long as you don't have that, whatever remains is good enough for a corporate setting. So don't feel the need that you have to do gestures just for the sake of it. Look like you're in control, look like you're in calm, and you're good to go. If you're in a leadership role and you struggle to speak up in meetings and presentations and be perceived as a leader, this is for you. Now, there's only so much you can learn watching a video, but if you are serious about transforming the way you speak, you should consider my online speaking classes. My team and I have coached more than 30,000 people at companies like JP Morgan, NASA, Google, Apple, you name it, and we help them speak with the confidence, clarity, and credibility of a CEO. Now, whether you struggle with rambling when you're speaking on the spot, or you freeze in front of a room, or you feel like you sound boring and people stop listening to you, these classes can transform the way you speak. Because knowing is not the same as doing. So if you are at all interested in changing the way you speak in a matter of days, click the link down below and check out my online classes.